All right. So when we were trying to come up with an idea of what exactly we should create with NLP, we realized that we were actually really bad at coming up with ideas. So bad, in fact, that we decided let's make it easier for other people to come up with ideas, particularly anybody who's writing a story, trying to play a game, or even artists, whatever you like. This is a tool for various people to create characters for whatever they like, and people do this more than you think. I think that this is very useful for like writing or making OCs or role playing games. Um, it's incredible. And so, why don't we introduce our team?
Hello there, my name is Paul. So I'm currently a rising senior in Westlake High School in California. And I guess for this project, I worked on a little bit of front end, a little bit of back end. I learned a lot about HTML, HTML, CSS, JavaScript while working with the website. And I also worked on the and for the modeling, we actually implemented 3 different models. So I worked on the backstory model.
All right. I'm a rising junior based out of Pennsylvania. I primarily worked on the front end of this project here. I designed the entire website and built it from scratch, no templates. Imagine using a template, that couldn't be me. But yeah, so I primarily envisioned what we wanted to do for the final product, and I made it happen. Handing it over to Kacper.
Hi, my name is Kacper, and I'm a rising senior from New York. I primarily worked on the backend code with the personality model, but I also helped bring the front end to life. In my free time, I love to program and play video games with my friends. Handing it over to Nina.
Hello, my name is Nina, and I am a rising senior from California. In this project, I mostly worked on the front end, but also helped a little bit with the model training. And yeah, here's our project. Handing it over to Rifat.
Hey, my name is Rifat. I'm from Connecticut, and I'm a rising senior in high school. And I primarily worked on the front end of the website. Handing over to Charlie.
My name is Charlie from New Jersey. I did a lot of back end, a lot of front end, worked on the personality traits a lot, and as well as the playground page, as you'll see soon. Next, Rifat's going to talk about the data set.
So for our NLP project, we made 3 different models. The first model handles creating personality traits for a fantasy character. And for that model, we took information from Dungeons and Dragons rulebooks and then data generated from GPT-3. And for the backstory model, we used data sets containing sample backstories from Elden Ring fantasy characters and GPT-3 generated backstories. And for the physical description model, we used descriptions generated by GPT-3. And we had some trouble finding data for our models. So that's why we had to use GPT-3 to kind of make our own data. And the model that we decided to use is Distill GPT-2 because we found it to be the most efficient and fast model.
We started searching for role-playing game characters, character traits, personality, and backstory data. And through countless Google results and with hours of scrolling, we managed to get the data through web scraping, GPT-3 generation, and user-created data. And what do we do with this data? As any other ordinary group out there would do, we skim through the data and prep this so that it is ready to be used as training data. Initially, we attempted to train our models on the ever so reliable CoCalc. It's unreliable. And as one would expect, we failed and trained the model instead on Google Colab Pro and our local computers. Now that we have our models trained, it's time to move on to the web development process. Initially, we planned on using CoCalc to edit and create our HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files, but soon we realized that it isn't exactly reliable as an IDE. This led to us using our local computers to work on the website. We used Figma to build our primary website design and the homepage as well. We then applied the same layout and theme of the homepage to the other pages, and we worked on the backend side of the website with Flask on our local computers since CoCalc Python Flask codes weren't rendering the CSS files properly. Near the end of our website development, we built a Discord bot, and through many difficulties, we uploaded the files to GitHub.
Throughout this entire process, we faced a lot of challenges. So first, we needed large databases to train our models with. We were looking for very specific information that was difficult to find. And so we ended up using GPT-3 AI to generate data. And GPT-3 is not always reliable, so we had to correct grammar and formatting mistakes to make sure we had good data. And we had data from different websites, so we also had to web scrape to gather enough data quickly. And after that, training took a lot of time. CodeCalc and Google Colab are both very slow and limited in terms of efficiency. It doesn't help that Google Colab disconnects and crashes often, and CodeCalc doesn't support GPU. It was really painful to watch hours of training go to waste because Google Colab decided to crash. CodeCalc also had issues with our Flask app and wasn't showing everything correctly, so we had to run on our local computers. And at the end, Git was being uncooperative. We had trouble pulling and pushing commits, and some work was almost lost due to pushing before pulling. Of course, we overcame these obstacles to make Nexus. It's not perfect yet, but we're very proud of what we made.
All right, next up, we're going to go to actually showing you what it can generate. So go over to the playground page and
Oh yeah.
we can start showing you. Okay, so pretty much we have a drop-down menu here with 3 different things. So let's do the backstory model first. Let's set it to he was born as the prompt, right? And the variety there changes the temperature of the AI, which makes it more or less random. So if you press submit, you get the output. And it takes a little while to load, obviously, while the AI is doing your calculations.
We didn't have time to make a super cool animation, but you can see the loading indicator here.
Yeah. So here's some new backstories for fantasy characters. And all of these are really unique. They're pretty good, and you could use them in actual games or writing or whatever you're trying to use it for. So let's go over to the physical description. Physical description, let's say you can choose whatever variety you want. Maybe the prompt is her eyes or his eyes. And the prompts are meant to be pretty short, like 1 or 2 words, just to give the AI a starting point for what you want to write. So the physical descriptions here are pretty much just gonna, yeah, there we go. A couple sentences of a physical description of a character. They're really cool, actually. And then last but not least, we have the personality traits.
Wait, Charlie, do you want to read some of them out loud?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, give us your best dramatic voice impression.
Her eyes were almond-shaped and tilted up slightly at the corners, giving her an exotic look. She wore colorful clothing, often patterns that clashed loudly. Her eyes were dark, and she had a severe look about her. She was always impeccably dressed, and she carried herself with authority and confidence. All right.
Impeccably dressed.
Impeccably. Yes. Personality traits, you can set variety to 100 there. It's usually best. And then just put they as the prompt.
All right.
And this is going to give us a couple unique personality traits, usually about a sentence long. Yeah, they are good at talking to others and can be very charming. They like seeing the smiles on people's faces when they perform. That's all that matters. So they're like a musician or something. Yeah, so they're pretty nice, and they can give your character a lot of, I guess, detail and like depth.
They're not like, oh, this character is ambitious or whatever. These are actual realistic, positive, negative, and neutral traits that like describe real people in real stories and whatnot.
Another thing is that I believe that there's a link to our GitHub somewhere around here. We're gonna add that soon to our website. So you'll be able to see all of the code, and there's also like documentation on all the files.
And not only did we create a website, we actually created a Discord bot as well. Shall we demonstrate that now?
Yep. All right. So in addition, as he said, we deployed our AI using Discord.py to make a bot that utilizes all models to create a complete and cohesive character. So now you can type invite the bot and type generate. It says thinking, and once it's done, it edits the message and adds an embed with a backstory, personality traits, and physical traits.
And this creates a cohesive character, this all one character instead of just random things that you can put together yourself. This is an actual thing that you could use in a story or a role play, or that an artist is going to draw up with something in mind.
And if you want to see more examples, we can go to #examples and look at more characters. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Give this team a round of applause here. I have a quick question. Where did you deploy the Discord bot to?
Just to my computer. That's it.
Okay, so it's running from your computer, interacting with Discord. Okay, cool.
Yeah, everything we have right now is just running locally. Peep my IP,
Okay.
We could host these on an actual VPS at some point. I think that's within our plans. Other future plans that we have. So obviously, we only had 3 weeks, so it's not as cohesive as we'd like it to be. So this, I think, would be really cool if we could actually generate just one cohesive character with personality traits, physical description, and a backstory all together, instead of it being individual, models. It'll combine them into one thing. And in the future, some more things we could do are not only personality traits, but we could do like character sets for like a story or something like that. And even, I don't know if you guys know, but like we could use Google's Imagen to create from the physical descriptions actual images. We could use Midjourney or Google Imagen or Dolly whenever we get our hands on it. And we could actually have a visual representation of what your character is supposed to be.
Yeah,
Cool.
another thing is actually we were halfway through making a names generation as well. Like we actually have a list of thousands of names that we were also going to do, but it didn't make it in because we already had 3 models and we already built the website and whatever. So we were just like, okay, we can add it later if we really want to do it. So yeah.
Cool.
He was a massive mountain of a man, easily twice the size of anyone else in the room. His arms were as thick as tree trunks, and his chest could have been used as a battering ram. He had wild red hair that struck out in his eyes and bald, and he had a beard. Sounds like someone you don't want to mess with.
All right, any other questions from the group here for this team?
Not a question, but that's so sick. Like that's such a cool website.
Thank you. Made by yours truly. Hire me.
All
How
right.
did,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead, Dasha.
How did you get the color that's gradient?
So the color that's gradient, so I'm used Figma. So here, let me open up. So I made the gradient in Figma, and then Figma is actually a really useful design tool for creating websites, mobile apps, whatever you like. No, I'm not sponsored, but so once you create like a gradient, you can come over to the inspect section and it'll give you CSS, and you can copy the actual gradient code and then you can deploy it in your code.
Whoa, thank you so much.
Of course.